My name's Sarah. I live in Sutton Coldfield, but I've lived in Birmingham for about 16 years. It all started when I got pregnant. It was in 2010. At the 20-week scan, she basically just stopped and looked at us and said, "Do you have twins in the family?" And we said no. She goes, "Well, you do now." And at that point, the blood flow wasn't great to both of the boys, but particularly to twin number 2, who was Finley. And also they noticed that part of his brain was missing at the back, which is called the inferior cerebellum vermis. And they said that basically if he survives the pregnancy, his quality of life would not be very good.
And they were very careful how they worded it, I remember, very careful. The emphasis all the time was basically, we just want to get him out alive.
In the last 4 or 5 weeks, I was probably scanned twice a day, every day. I sort of knew what I was looking at towards the end, which was a big black hole in the back of Finley's brain.
In some ways it was quite simple actually, because it was like, God, we need a miracle.
We also went to some friends and they just prayed with us, basically, just prayed for healing. When we were coming home, Zac got back in the car and he just said, something switched in him and thought, of course God can grow a brain, of course he can. Not that we knew he was going to do that, but Zac had a real peace about that could be a possibility and to pray for healing. And a friend texted me who had been in a similar situation and texted me the verse, "The peace that surpasses all understanding." At that moment got an overwhelming sense of peace that nothing could have given me other than God. Of course I was still worried, of course I was still anxious, but I still had an overwhelming sense of peace that God would give me everything I needed. So we actually got to 31 weeks, 2 days, I think it was.
And then the fateful call came on a Friday lunchtime. It was like, yeah, they're coming, let's go. And in there, I think it was 28 people, 28 doctors were in there, or certainly over 25, and because they had that many people there because of everything that could go wrong and the fact that there's 2 of them. During
that time that we'd had loads of scans, every scan the brain was missing, so it was definitely not there. So being a premature baby, they have a routine brain scan. All premature babies get this. And I asked the radiographer, is the brain there? Because, so she redid the scan and we got the results later that evening.
And we're walking down that corridor and this junior doctor, radiographer I think, runs down and says, "Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Dixon, yeah, I've got your scan results through, everything's fine, see you tomorrow." And we just stopped dead in our tracks and we were like, what did he say? And
basically this lady, junior doctor, ran down, always gets me emotional this bit, but she ran down the corridor and she went, "Oh, just to let you know before you go, the brain's there, it's all there."
This brain that was not there has somehow, miraculously, impossibly regenerated itself.
And then our consultant came up a few days later who had told me point blank that the brain cannot grow, it's impossible for it to happen. I said, "Oh, have you heard? The brain's there." And she went, "Huh? What? That's not possible. What do you mean it's there?" She said, "Oh, okay," and just sort of humoured me and said, "I'll go and read the notes and go and speak to the other consultant," and sort of walked out the room, came back about 10 minutes later, just looked shocked and stunned and said, "You're right, the brain is there. I have no explanation. I don't know how to explain this, but let's just see how he develops, I guess. The proof in the pudding is how he develops." Yes, the brain is now there. No explanation. I've got a letter saying it wasn't there and a letter saying it is there, and there's just no explanation other than he is developing fine.